Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining New Jersey Wedding Podcast. We are your hosts, Andrea Pertel and Celia Milton, and we're both full-time professional wedding officiants here in the state of New Jersey. And thank you for joining us today. Hi, Celia. How are you doing today?
I'm excellent. I'm excellent. It's a rainy kind of let's get a lot of work done sort of day in New Jersey. So I'm like good. I'm good. Coming off a great weekend,
Coming off
interesting
a
weekend, and
wedding.
very happy to talk to Ben this morning. I love
Yeah.
Ben. I've loved Ben for years. Um, we're happy to welcome Ben Lau, who is one half of a husband and wife photography team with his wife. That would be weird if it wasn't your wife, wouldn't it? That'd be strange. Just saying. They own three wedding photography brands, covering over 100 weddings every year over the past 14 years. And they also are co-hosts of the Focused AF, I'll leave that up to you to figure that out, podcast, which is fun, business-based podcast for wedding creatives. They're also the founders of the Focused AF Summit, a New Jersey-based conference for wedding creatives. Ben is a generous educator, helping wedding vendors streamline their businesses so they can spend more time with their friends and family and focus on what they do best. That photography, videography, or officiating or making cannolis, whatever they do for the wedding industry, you want to have a nice balance between all of them. So welcome, Ben. We're so happy to have you. How are you doing?
Oh, thank you so much for having me, guys. I was so excited when I got your invitation. I was like, "Oh my gosh, me?"
Oh, come on now.
Of course, your name comes up a lot. We've
All the time.
in other podcasts, we've talked to other folks and they're like, "Oh, Ben Lau," and then they give us pictures to post of on the social media, and
Yeah.
it'll be one of your photographs and stuff. Your name comes
Oh,
up all the time. Everyone
oh,
loves you for your fun,
Yes.
energetic, you know, personality.
Yes.
yeah. Well, I'm glad to contribute.
Now, tell us about your businesses and your approach. I mean, I love working with you because you're just so relaxing, and you obviously you know so much about what you're doing, and you can guide people towards making their day less stressful in that, they don't have to really worry about anything. You just show up and you kind of take over.
But yeah, have you ladies ever heard of this analogy like a duck swimming on water? You know,
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
surface, it's just very calm and collected, but
Yeah.
underneath, it's just, just kicking like crazy, trying to keep the
Yes,
whole thing going,
absolutely.
right? That's pretty much how that's pretty much my normal weekend, my day to day, looks can be very deceiving. There's a lot of running around like a chicken with its head cut off,
Right.
beneath the surface. There's a lot of things going on. But I'm glad that, you know, at least from outward appearances, that everything looks cool, calm, and collected.
You have us all fooled.
And your pictures look like it was a breeze. It looked like it was
Oh
all
no,
like
definitely not.
beauty and love, and yeah, at
Uh,
least that
so
comes out.
so
Yeah.
so so what was the question?
I forgot. Tell us tell us about maybe like your approach with your couples. What are you obviously you're there to take pictures, but how do you shape that experience for them?
Well, I mean, for a long time, I want to say at least for the first 8 years of my career, um, I really wanted to actually, even to this day, I want to make sure that my clients are happy, right? But what does that mean?
Mm,
And for the first, I want to say 8 years of my career, it was all about doing whatever the clients wanted. Hey, listen, whatever you want, I'll make it happen. Whatever you want, we're going to do it. Okay. But I didn't realize that that came at a great expense of my
Right.
own
yes.
sanity, of my own workflows, of my own product, or whatever it was. I was willing to do anything and everything to make the clients happy. And listen, at the end of the day, you guys and myself, we're no different in the way that we're all in the service industry. It's just that the
Right.
products and services that we offer are a little bit different, but at the end of the day, we want happy clients, right?
Right.
So,
Right.
for the first 8 years, I was doing everything and everything to keep those clients happy. But at the end of the day, I was really burnt out. You're doing 120 weddings a year, trying to keep 120 people and 120 personalities. Actually, it's a pair of them. So it's 240, 200 to
Yeah.
240 of them,
Yeah.
not including the parents either, right? So we're talking about a lot of people that we got to keep happy. And at the end of my 8th year, I was burnt out. I was like, I don't know if I can do this for the rest of my life. So around 2018, that was when my wife and I celebrated our 10-year wedding anniversary.
Yay.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
And I don't know if you guys know this, but and I share this on other podcasts as well. You know, when we first got married, the only time we ever got married, it was to each other, right? So we didn't have very much, so we paid for everything ourselves. So we got the best photographer that we could afford. And it
Mm.
was this guy that had a kiosk outside of a supermarket, right?
Yeah.
So we got this guy, and oh, like I think out of I don't know, the several hundred photos that he sent to us, I think there's only a handful that we thought were okay, right? But if you go around our house, none of our wedding photos are anywhere because it was just that terrible. But in any case, I told my wife, I was like, listen, you know, for our 10-year wedding anniversary, let's do it big. Let's redo these photos. We owe it to ourselves to get some nice photos of ourselves.
Yeah.
And that was when we found this photographer down in Mexico, a gentleman by the name of Fer Waristi. You guys can go check him out. And he was booked year in advance, year and a half in advance, right? And we reached out to him. He's like, "Yeah, I don't know if I can squeeze you in my schedule." My wife and I were like, "Listen, whatever you want, whenever you want.
Mm.
We want you. We don't want anybody else to photograph us. We just love your style that much. We love your vibe. We love everything that you stand for. We just want you to photograph us. There's nobody else." And the thing was, we had no idea how much this thing was going to cost either. We were like, "We'll come to
Yeah.
you, whatever it is," right? And then at the end of that whole experience, which was a wonderful experience, we got some great images from that session. Uh, at the end of that experience, we thought to ourselves like, "Wow, how does he get clients like us?" Not to say that he's so lucky that he got us as clients, but
Mm.
like,
Right.
how does he get clients that love everything that he's about? He didn't
Yeah.
have to compromise who he was, what he
Right.
was offering. He was able to do things on his term, but at the same time, he had clients who loved every single bit of that experience.
Yeah.
That was when I rebranded, 2018. Okay.
Okay.
From that point on forward, that's when we decided that, listen, the way that we're going to get people to be happy about our product and our services and our brand is being true to ourselves and what we have to offer to the clients. You know, we don't want to contort ourselves or to put ourselves in some kind of weird situations to try to appease the clients, you know,
Right.
because at the end of the day, that's not what we're best equipped to serve. We want to always focus on what we're naturally um, uh, inclined to serve our clients, what where our natural gifts are. We want to serve that, and that's what's going to
Right.
make them happy. It's sort of like any kind of relationship, right? Do
Right.
you
Mm.
want to pretend to be something that you're not in order for the other person to be happy, or would you rather find someone who's going to be happy with everything that you have to offer? You know, that
Yeah.
way everybody wins in that situation. Nobody's burnt out. No one ends up being unhappy with the final products. Everybody wins in that situation, right? So that's the approach that we've started taking in 2018, and I can honestly say that that gave us our second wind. You know, I have so much more job satisfaction. I love, don't get me wrong, my first 8 years I loved about 99.99% of
Yeah.
of that work, right?
Right.
And some were a little bit more challenging than others because there was a mismatch. You know, I was taking the job because it paid the bills, right? uh,
Right.
but but now uh, we're we're dialing in our marketing message so that way we're only attracting the people who truly appreciate what we bring to the table. And so that way I don't have to compromise anything. They don't have to compromise anything. Everybody's happy.
It's a
And
great
Everybody's
fit. It
happy.
becomes a
Yeah.
great fit. I can totally relate to what you're saying.
Oh,
Mine
absolutely.
was it was an evolution. I've been doing this 14 years now. I know Celia's longer, but also at the beginning and for many years, just to have the
Mm.
business and just to whatever you want, and then you do have to reevaluate it sometime and evolve into this is it. This is what I'm providing. And I like the way you say what your gifts are,
Yeah.
what you do. Yeah.
Well, it's, you know what, it's sharpening that niche too. It's like, you can be everything to some people or you can be something to everyone. And ultimately, I think the most attractive and most satisfying end of that equation is that you attract the people who would only would only want to use you. And it's based, of course, it's based on the physical product and, the images that you create. But I think the journey there is also a piece of that, this should be, you should enjoy working with your photographer. You should feel comfortable on that day. You should know that you're going to have a great time. Because as we say so often, that is going to show in your pictures. If you are having a hard time with any of your vendors, not just your photographers, you're going to be stressed and it's going to show. And, ideally that's not part of what happens on that day.
Yeah.
Correct. Correct.
Yeah. So, so talk about the wedding day, how it unfolds with the photography.
Well, I show up.
That's great. Good. Yay.
That's the first most important thing, that I show up on time, right?
Well, time is important. That's,
Time is everything.
there's so much more than just taking the pretty pictures. You got to be in the whole wedding
Yeah.
day timeline.
I am super. I have very little patience for tardiness, right?
Yes, me too.
I
Yes.
am a stickler for being punctual and just being accountable and all those things. I was told that this was a very Gen X type of trait, but
We keep hearing that, don't we?
yeah,
Yes.
but I was like, I'm an elder millennial. Thank you very much. So but once upon a time, I used to show up when the orange juice and the bagels showed up, right?
There
Once
you
upon
go.
a time, early in my career, I used to show up in the butt crack of morning. And
Yeah.
what usually ended up happening was that, these bridesmaids, they would just grab their food and just scurry away, right? Like wildlife when the cameras come out that early in the morning, because they're not camera ready, right? So I was like, you
Yeah.
know what? I'm gonna let you guys eat now. I'm not gonna come at like dawn, okay? So usually I show up about an hour to an hour and a half before the bride gets into her dress, and then um, and then I'm there till right around cake cutting, and then I'll stay a little bit after cake cutting just in case there's some additional things that we need to
Mm.
get, like a sparkler exit or some kind of food truck or something like that. Um, Honestly, any additional dancing that happens after the cake cutting, it's just more drunk people dancing, and usually
Yeah, that's true.
by that point, I'll have plenty of that already. You know what I mean? Um, those no one there's usually not anything good that'll come out of those photos. Those are really just for personal collections and for blackmailing.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Blackmail.
But
Yeah, true.
yeah. That being said, we're there pretty much from start to finish, from prep to cake, and that usually involves about 10 hours of coverage, more or less. And but yeah, that's my wedding day, and yeah, we show up to shoot the prep, and we're basically, if they haven't brought on a planner or a coordinator, my wife and I, or actually, my wife doesn't shoot with me that much these days. She shoots for herself. So it's me and a co-shooter, and we're guiding the couple throughout the day to make sure that they're staying on time and that we're getting all the combinations of photos that we need to get for delivery. Um, and we don't leave their sides for the most part. Yeah, we're there for the full 10 hours, just hanging out with the couple and making sure we grab everything.
Yeah. Are you we've been talking a little bit with, the various pros that we've had as guests about some of we're kind of like trend averse, but there are definitely things that are happening differently in the way people are planning and executing their weddings. One of them is, well, the first look, which is not really a trend. I mean, that's been going on for quite some time. But what I'm seeing is people not doing their vows in their ceremony and doing their vows as part of their first look. Is that something that you're seeing as well? And do you like it or not?
I see it. Yeah, I do. I have been seeing that a lot this season.
Yeah.
People are sharing their vows right after the first look, and they do it privately. Um, I think that's nice. I think that's nice. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't. I don't know. Yeah, it's nice. I get it, because I get a nice picture out of it. But listen, even if they share it with their family and friends, or in front of their family and friends during the ceremony, that's fine too. But it doesn't really change my job description if they
Okay.
do decide they're going to do their vows in private.
No. Well, then we have Andrea. We have the cake cutting controversy.
Oh,
What's the
yeah.
controversy?
No, I was saying that because I attended a wedding and I see it more or hear it now also because my kids are at that wedding. None of mine are married, but like my oldest is 33 and stuff. So we got a lot of people getting married, and they are tending not to clear the dance floor, and they going off and cut the cake by themselves, maybe with just their parents for the photos.
Yes.
They don't want to stop the party. So they go and you know, it used to be like everybody stop, let's do the big cake
Right.
thing. But now they go with their photographer off to the side. Not always, but they're tending to do that, you know, just do it in private, you know.
I would say, at least for the clients that I shoot, they generally don't like to be the center of attention.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but that's just the people that I attract. I mean, listen, there are clients out there who want that spotlight on them, right?
Mm.
But for at least for us and our clients, I've seen this being a trend for the last at least the last couple of years, even pre-COVID, it's been a trend.
Yeah.
I don't mind it. Actually, I like it
Yeah.
because it doesn't stop the party, right? And I'm sure the
Right.
entertainment appreciates it too. You know, well,
Right, I
maybe
would
they
think
do. I don't
so.
know. Maybe they want the break. I don't know. But I think that most of the entertainment people that I speak with, they want to pack dance floor. They don't want to stop and start, stop and start, stop and
Right,
start.
they
You know?
got
Yeah.
everybody up on the dance floor. They don't want to stop it. They work so hard to get them up there dancing.
Exactly, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I'm not particularly bothered by it. Yeah, because for me, the end product is still approximately the
So
same.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Now, photographers, some of them talk about what different styles they have,
hmm
journalistic or this or that. Do you have a particular style, photography
Um,
style that?
it's whatever mood strikes.
Oh, okay.
Have you guys ever dined omakase, with sushi?
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
whatever's going to come next, whatever
whatever
was
is gonna
good.
come, it's chef's
Oh,
choice,
okay.
right? It's whatever is gonna come. And this is the way that I present it to my clients. You know, I work with whatever ingredients that I'm provided with that day.
Okay.
What I don't want to do is try to shove a square peg into a round hole and vice versa. So if it's a cloudy day, I'm not going to get those bright and airy photos. You know what I mean? Or if it's
Mhm.
if it's a cloudy day, I'm not going to get those, you know, those cotton candy skies with the, you know, with the golden hour sun and all that good stuff, right? So like I have to work with what I'm given. You know,
Right.
if I'm
Work
working
with
with
the
an
elements.
introverted, quiet couple, I'm not going to make them running around doing silly things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, the thing that I tell a lot of my clients is like, listen, you know, nothing, you know where awkward photos come from? Awkward photos come from silly people trying to be serious and
Uh-huh.
serious people trying to be silly. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the photographer's job to kind of figure out what ingredients they have in front of them and then try to make something out of that,
Yeah.
which is
Right.
essentially what a chef is, you know?
Yeah.
Um, I'm the chef, but I create photos. That's pretty much it.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel too that, if you understand your couples, and we try to do that as well. I feel like you kind of know, what is going to be like, whoa, we don't want to do that. And you just kind of like lead them through the day and capture pictures. What I love about many of the pictures that I've seen from you is that they're not like the expected thing. They're not like, oh, stare at your bouquet like you've never seen it before. It's like I have a friend was a photographer years ago and says, we always had the things that we took pictures of. It's like fix his bow tie, stare at the bouquet like it just like was raptured there from outer space. And it's like, and it's kind of, it's kind of the same now. It's like you've got the dress hanging in the window and there's still those shots, but I think the
I'm trying
most
to
interesting.
retire all those shots, you
Yes, I
know?
don't blame you.
You know, the dress hanging around on the window or on the dresser and stuff. It looks like like a ghostly
like
figure,
a ghost. I know it's
right?
like weird. It's like, what does that have to do with
You know,
anything,
yeah,
you know?
and I don't know if this part was recorded in the pre-show, right? I talked about this. I got in trouble this recently because I didn't photograph the crudité display, you know?
Oh,
Like
really?
you
The
know, like
cheese and
this, like
crackers?
the pepperoni and the cheese cubes and stuff, right? I'm like, are you serious? You gonna nail me on the wall for that?
Oh my gosh. Like, I don't know. I
The
don't know, Ben.
Instagram photo of the of what we're about to eat.
There is nothing like a good prosciutto tree, okay? It's like you have to have that in your album, in the
Were you
Stonehenge
with me for that
album.
prosciutto tree wedding? I don't know if
What?
you were or not. This was at the Seversky Mansion in Long Island. I don't.
I've
Do you go out that
never
far?
been there, but the prosciutto tree is invading New Jersey too. So
Okay, all right. I got a good prosciutto tree story to share with you.
Okay,
I don't know
great.
how much
I
time
love
we
it.
got. All right,
I love a
I might
prosciutto
take up a whole hour. This might be your longest episode ever.
I love it. I love it. It's such a
So,
Jersey thing, the
so I
prosciutto.
had
oh my God.
no, it's not. I don't think it's a Jersey thing. I think this started in Long Island. All right,
Long Island.
I want to say this was almost 10 years ago. I had a bride. She told me during the consult, she's like, hey, listen, ever since I was a little girl, I've always dreamt of having a prosciutto tree at my wedding. I was
Oh
like,
my
what
God,
the
that's
hell?
problematic right there.
I was like, what the hell is a prosciutto tree? I've never heard of such a thing before, right? So anyway, so the wedding day arrives, and the caterer slash florist, I don't know, somebody came to get me. It's like, hey, Ben, I don't know what the hell she's talking about. She asked me for a prosciutto tree, and this is what I came up with. So, so the bride's busy somewhere else. And the caterer, planner, whoever brings me into this room, to the cocktail room where this prosciutto tree was, and it looked like it was just branches and twigs, and like it was just like a big branch display, and they had basically hung prosciutto on these branches, basically like a Christmas tree ornament,
Yes, that's it.
right? And I was like, this is the most hideous thing I've ever seen in my life, right? How am I supposed to photograph this? So, and I was like, well, honestly, I don't know what it's supposed to look like, and the florist and the caterer is like, I don't know what it's supposed to look like either. She said prosciutto tree, and this is what we came up with. I was like, hey, listen, not my circus, not my monkeys. God bless you. Godspeed. Good luck and Godspeed, right? So they called in the bride for a reveal, because they do these things, right? It's like, hey, we have your prosciutto tree ready. Come in and take a look. And the bride's like, she walks in, she sees the tree, and she goes, oh my God. I was like, oh no, here it comes. Here it comes. She's like, this is exactly how I envisioned it. I was like, oh, thank God. Thank God this is
Loved
what she
it.
envisioned. Oh my gosh. So we dodged a bullet that day, because
Yeah.
it could have been a real problem if we didn't nail that. But actually, it wasn't even my problem because I was not responsible for that
But
prosciutto
you
tree.
got the
But
pictures of it. So.
Oh my God.
I was like, how the hell am I supposed to photograph this thing? It was the ugliest thing I'd ever seen in my life. But anyway, I mean, no offense to anyone who's listening to this podcast and you want your own prosciutto tree. But I
Yeah.
have seen some prosciutto trees that were actually well done. And what they do is they roll up the prosciutto and they kind of make like have you seen those diaper cakes?
The
Where
what
they
cakes?
roll up the diapers and then they
Oh
make little
yeah,
cakes.
yeah.
Make that out, like, instead of
Like
diapers, use prosciutto. And I think that'll look a lot prettier than throwing meat on branches and stuff. It's just the whole concept is just funny to me. That's all.
It's funny. Celia, which venue is famous for their prosciutto tree here in Jersey?
I'm drawing a blank. I really,
Oh.
but there is that intense anticipation of this thing that, I mean, the ones I've seen, I'm very impressed that that one was made with like branches and things, because most of the ones I've seen are like they're on a kind of wire Christmas tree form, and then there's meat hanging from it. I mean, why stop at prosciutto? I mean, really, you got mortadella, you got like, ham. I mean, really, add some cheese in there. It's like charcuterie, only vertical. I don't know. It's just, I think we might be onto something here. It may not be, it may be an ugly thing that we're onto, but I think we could run with it.
We're about to run out of time, but
Yeah, I'm glad. Thank you.
and
No,
in
we're
the
gonna
5 minutes
keep going. We're gonna go for part 2 and part 3 here.
we
Oh,
could,
definitely.
if you have time, we could. I love to talk about weddings that we did. But before this session ends, do you have any tips or advice for couples?
For
and their
couples.
for couples on their photography and their wedding day?
Yes. So, definitely don't just shop for your photographer based on price,
No, absolutely not.
and definitely
Spend the
don't
most
shop.
money you possibly can. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to like interrupt you. But
Well, I
I
mean,
think I
budgets are
no,
real, budgets are,
seriously.
yeah, budgets are real.
Seriously.
Budgets are
Yeah.
real.
But don't ever let a photographer shame you into making you feel like your budget is not good enough
Yeah.
for them. You know what I mean? Like, your budget is your budget, but spend as much money as you
Yeah.
can, but like don't skimp just to skimp. You know what I mean? Spend
Yeah.
whatever you can afford, okay? But
I always
also,
tell them, you know what? I interrupt you again. I'm sorry. It's like, if you can only afford your fabulous photographer for a lesser amount of time, do that, because
Mhm.
it's better to have less time with somebody fabulous than unlimited time with somebody who sucks.
Right.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So don't make your decision just solely based on price.
Mhm.
As far as portfolio is concerned, pretty photos you can get anywhere. I mean, there are
Yeah.
so many photographers in our market, and with the different genres of photography, you can find a billion options for any one of those genres, right? Um, and the thing is, the question that I don't know where they get it, maybe they get it at the Knot or Wedding Wire or something
Yeah.
like that. They have these questions that they ask their photographers and stuff like, "Hey, what kind of style do you shoot?"
Yeah.
Um, and that's not going to be a very helpful question to ask, right? And then sometimes you'll have photographers who'll ask you, "Hey, listen, um, what kind of style of photography are you looking for?" Right? They'll ask the clients that. Um, that's not the approach that I would advise anyone to go.
Mm,
I think that the best approach is to, when you're interviewing your photographers, ask your photographers, hey, what do you enjoy photographing most at a wedding day? Okay. And now the photographer no longer has to try to mold themselves into what they think that you like. They're telling you what they're good at. Okay. And then you can
yeah.
decide as a consumer whether or not that is what you want. Okay. So then maybe they'll tell you, hey, listen, I love playing with light. I love playing with composition. I love taking pictures of grandma dancing on the dance floor. I love, the craziness and the hecticness of
Mm,
a wedding day, because some
Mhm.
photographers are not, right? But like when you ask them that magic question, hey, listen, what do you enjoy photographing the most on a wedding day? Right? What makes you happy? Right? This is a good callback to what we were talking about earlier, right? This is how you can find yourself in a situation where the photographer doesn't have to compromise on their style and what they enjoy photographing, and you can definitely get the best of what they have to offer. And also, you don't have to compromise what you're looking for as the consumer, as the bride or groom. Okay.
no, that's perfect. That's a perfect answer.
Yeah.
So we have to go because we're running out of time. But I think that we should come back. I want everybody to think about this and tell me. You can get back to me on this. But I love a real wedding type Monday thing where we talk about the weddings
Mhm.
we did, the funny, the good, the advice from it, because I think that would be a lot of fun.
Oh, I have so many stories to share.
I would love
So
to.
many.
I'd love to have you on again and let's just chat about weddings and the stories from them. I think that would be great.
That would be amazing.
Excellent.
I'm
Excellent.
gonna
Yeah.
I'll tell our listeners the link to benlau.com, to his website, to his Instagram will be on our social media sites, which are New Jersey Wedding Podcast, so that you can just click on the links and go to his website or his Instagram site and see his beautiful work. He has a beautiful gallery and a great website too, very informative and good. So thank
Oh,
you so
thank
much
you.
for joining us. It was a
Well,
lot of fun.
It was
thank you
great
so
fun,
much.
Ben. Thank you so much. See you
Thank,
soon.
thank you so
Bye
much for having me.
Bye.
bye. That was great. Ben Lau is a lot of fun.
He's
He
hilarious. I love him.
one of my
Yes.
favorite photographers. Just his
Yeah.
personality is bright and energetic. And I really loved what he had to say too about, um, you know, being true to yourself. And this is what
Right.
I do, and I'll share with you what I do, and that making sure we're a good match that way. His
Yeah.
photography is beautiful too. It's absolutely gorgeous.
His work is gorgeous. And I think what he said is so accurate. It's like don't pick somebody and tell them what kind of pictures you want. Look at entire galleries and find somebody who is used to shooting, whether it's photojournalistic, which is like that term is thrown around with great ease, and it doesn't really always mean what the people are doing. But find somebody whose style is what you have in mind and let them do what they do best, and try to, instead of trying like to squeeze themselves into what you want instead.
Right.
They're gonna it's not unlike us. I mean, we do different ceremonies than everybody else, and it's like that's either what you want or it's what you don't want. And the best possible situation is you get somebody who really understands what you're trying to achieve. So, when you open up those pictures and you see that prosciutto tree, you're like, yeah, that's the best picture I've ever seen of a prosciutto tree.
He's, he has a lot of great fun stories. I mean, you can tell he loves what he does, but he
Yeah,
can also
he's
laugh
great.
about, because this we see so much and laugh about whatever happens and go with the flow too, with it. But yeah, I love to hear his stories. I love to talk wedding stories with him.
Well, I
And his
think what's
wife is
oh
a great photographer too,
his
as well.
wife's great to work with. I think there's a real beauty, and this comes back to like this discussion we have very often about hiring pros, about hiring people who are really, really good at what they do because they're not sweating out every moment. Are they going to miss the rings? Are they going to miss the first look? They are good enough at this. And I love the fact that he brought up his attention to timing because that makes everybody much more relaxed when things are going on time and your first look is happening when it's supposed to happen and done when it's supposed to be done. And these are things that are second nature to somebody who has done this a lot. Yeah, and it makes all the rest of us at ease too. We're
Right.
not like, where's the couple? They were supposed to be here 20 minutes ago. Oh, the photos aren't done yet. That never happens with him ever.
Yeah. Yeah, I like on his website, he has this one page, facts, this is me, and he has some fun things. He has a quote
Yeah.
from Harry Potter and stuff, but one of his is kindness is a superpower. And he has a quote from Fred Rogers. There are three
Mhm.
ways to ultimate success. The first way is to be kind. The second way is to be kind. And the third way is to be kind. And that's great because I find Ben to be very
Yeah,
kind and honest and very talented photographer.
and very generous with his time
Yeah.
to other photographers, through his professional
His
liaisons and his
podcast.
teaching and podcasts. Very, very sort of trying to, what do they say? Raise the water and you raise the boat.
Right,
Any
right.
sense?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. And then but also then he when he talked about, because back to what you said about um if budgets are real, and if you're fitting it into your budget, if
Yes.
you need to get somebody really good for a short amount of time,
Yes.
half a day rather than the full day, versus somebody who's not so great, just think of the story that he told about his own wedding and how he doesn't
Yeah.
even have any pictures of his original wedding day because the photographer was not good and none of the pictures were good. So at 10 years later, they had them redone by a fabulous photographer who I have
Yeah.
to get that name again. But so, and they had a great experience with the second one. So there's a lesson there which is exactly what you were saying.
Yeah. Well, listen, that was the story of my wedding. I mean, our pictures were horrible. I went, word of mouth recommendation of a friend of a friend of a friend, and it was expensive. I got married a very long time ago, like almost before flash cameras, honestly, but somehow it managed to work out. But we had terrible pictures and pictures with like the groom and all the bridal parties without me. It's like Yoo-hoo, big white dress, probably should be in there, and it's like just like get somebody really good, even if it's for a short amount of time. That's my best advice. And somebody that your personalities mesh with, because you're going to be with that person, even if it's not 9, 10 hours, you're going to be with that person in a more intense way than anybody else on that day, except for the person you're marrying.
Right, right. Well, I just it was great. I hope to have him on again. I'd love to swap
Yeah.
wedding stories and have some laughs. I think our listeners would enjoy that as well. So check out Ben Lau. It's BenLau.com. And we will have links again to his website and his Instagram so you can see his beautiful work. He
Hmm.
also, another thing he has on his website that I'll have to try one of these summer days, his beverage of choice is his world famous Bingaritas, his version of a margarita, a Bingarita. And he has the recipe there, the lime, the agave syrup, how much triple sec, how much
Oh my
tequila,
God, that's
and da
hilarious.
da da, shake, 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 and enjoy.
That's
He's got a
hilarious.
great sense of humor. He's a lot
Yeah.
of fun. Great energy about him, you
Yeah.
know.
And the consummate professional.
Yes.
I've known him for a very long time and he's terrific. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
All
Cool.
right. All right. Thank you guys for joining us today. And be sure to hit that like and follow button so you don't miss an episode. This is the podcast for planning your wedding in New Jersey. So happy planning and thank you for joining us.
Thanks a bunch. Have a great day.
Bye. This podcast is brought to you by New Jersey wedding officiant Andrea Pertel, owner of For This Joyous Occasion Officiating Services.
And Celia Milton, owner of NJ Vows Now, also New Jersey wedding officiating services. We're up in North Jersey and Andrea is down in Central and South Jersey. So together we cover the whole state, don't we?
Yes, yes.